Oh, hi. Yeah. I guess we're doing this now. Welcome to Adventure in Art. My name is Ben Staley, your resident talking head. What are we doing? We're gonna talk about, I'm kind of winging this. We're gonna talk about Micro Four Thirds and portraits. Is Micro Four Thirds a valid format for portraiture? In today's world of large sensors, large sensor sizes, small, medium formats, 35 millimeter full frame, why would you bother taking portraits on Micro Four Thirds? Look at this. This is, check this out. Bing, bing. Let's see the sensor. Where's it at? Oh, there it is. Focus. This is a GH2. I bought this in 2011. I was in super remote Canada. I was doing a job for the History Channel. This thing was, the internet was all abuzz. This was coming out and it was gonna be hot stuff for video. Actually, it was hot stuff for video at the time. It was hard to get at first, and I got on a waiting list, and I remember I was doing this job in super remote Canada. I did have a feeble Wi-Fi signal, and I got this email saying, there's a camera available if you want to buy it. And so I did. Beep, 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 beep. Or maybe it was on my phone even. It's 2011. I'm rambling. Anyways, so I bought this. It was one of the first mirrorless cameras. These GH cameras were some of the first mirrorless cameras ever. There was no Sony mirrorless. There was no Nikon, Canon mirrorless. I don't even know if Fuji was a thing back then. GH, Lumix. So I bought this thing. It was small, lightweight. I was traveling a ton at the time, doing mostly filmmaking, Discovery Channel, History Channel, Nat Geo. That's how I was paying the bills at that time. And I bought this thing and I took it all over the world. I'm gonna show you a whole bunch of portraiture, all with Micro Four Thirds, that covers the last, since I bought that, 13 years. Up to stuff, I'm kind of recently in the last, really just the last year, have been started shooting Micro Four Thirds again. So I'm gonna show you some super old work and some very new work. And there's like 120 or 130 photos I'm gonna show you, so I better stop blabbing and just get into it. Got my keyboard here, and then right behind the camera is my editing station and my iMac, and so I can, I can sit here and kind of on my couch, be all relaxed and stuff, and beep, 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 show you some pictures. So if I'm not looking at the camera, I'm looking at my monitor over there. Thanks for tuning in. Let's do this. I've always been obsessed with portraits and portraiture and people, right? I'm in the people business, but I was never really a portrait photographer or anything. No one's paying me to do that. Now they actually pay me to do it. It's a chunk of my yearly income. So I work in film and television, so sometimes I'm just shooting cast members for TV shows I'm working on or stuff like that. I do a little bit of fashion stuff. But back then, it was not a thing. It was not a thing I was doing. And I had this little GH2. It was very fresh. I only bought a couple lenses to start, and I had this 20 millimeter 1.7 pancake lens. It was like a little thin lens. I loved that lens. I actually don't have it anymore. Got rid of it years ago, but I kind of need to get a new one. I wish my friends at Lumix would just send me one. I really want one. That lens is so rad. I think it's not the snappiest with the autofocus and stuff. It's really small and compact, but it's just like, it's a good, like on a camera this size, you can put the darn thing in your pocket. It's so cool. See, I'm rambling again. These minor dudes, I was doing a show for Nat Geo up in the woods, and ran into these dudes at this old like ghost town. They're kind of camped out there and they're gold mining. And I was like, hey dudes, we filmed them for this TV show I was making. And I was like, hey dudes, come on in here. And there's like this super old like roadhouse with all this stuff on the wall, and it was pretty much shuttered and it wasn't like open for business, but they're kind of squatting there and living there. These dudes are awesome. That's kind of what I did, is I was doing all these shows and stuff for Nat Geo and Discovery Channel, and I'm meeting all these crazy characters like this dude. Look at those. Dude, look at that dude. Like, how long do you think that dude spends on his hair in the morning? I got hair envy. Look at that. That's like a frickin' pro mullet. Check that out. Look at this dude. I don't think he has any teeth. This is in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Awesome dude. So I started taking portraits of all these people I was running into. This dude with the savage beard. Okay, this guy. This is actually one of my favorite portraits of all time. Now let me get into this, okay? What do you think? What do you think I used for a lens on that guy? I will tell you, the cool thing about Micro Four Thirds and these small cameras and these small sensors is you can adapt darn near any kind of lens. And I did that a lot early on. I don't so much anymore, although sometimes I do, but I had a whole bunch of different random lenses and I would try them out. And that was like part of the fun for me, was the experimental kind of part of it. Am I close enough to the camera? Should I scoot up into the light here? I had this little guy. I bought this little guy. This is a C-mount lens. I bought this on eBay for like 25 bucks. These are like video lenses, right? For video cameras. And it's got like a screw-on mount. So I had to get this little adapter, Micro Four Thirds adapter, C-mount adapter, and you screw it on. And it's like, it says the 1.7. I don't even know the size. I think it's about a 25 millimeter equivalent to like a 50 millimeter, I think. It doesn't even say on here. It says TV lens. Fujian, China. Anyways, cheap, $25 lens. I took this portrait of this dude who was out in the wilderness in these deserted kind of farmlands in Northern California, and he was like trapping muskrats to pay the bills. That's a rough existence. Anyways, I love this portrait. I bet this dude, he's cruising around, he's trapping muskrats. There's not a lot of people rolling up going, "Hey man, can I take your picture?" These dudes were cutting wood. There's this girl. This is a gal in Siberia. I believe I used that same C-mount lens on this gal. Those last 4 pictures, all that same lens. Okay, I did work quite a bit over the years on this show called Deadliest Catch, and this is some portraits from that. This dude is displaying his knife very proudly to me. Some cast members. What lens am I using here? I got into portraits pretty heavy, and I was using an Olympus 45mm 1.8. That's Casey, he's on the crew. Casey's a good dude, showing me his knives. All these people showing knives. It's like, is that a thing? It's a theme. There's Bradley. Worked with Bradley out at sea. Knife dude again. Oh, there's Mac. Mac's a full-blooded Navajo. Grew up on a reservation. Hitchhiked to Alaska. I think he had like less than $100 to his name. Started learning how to become a fisherman. Been doing that ever since. What an awesome dude. Look at that face. Olympus 45mm 1.8. That was my main portrait lens for a long time. I think this is like, I've moved up to like the GH3 here. Different faces. Captain Wild Bill. There's Jake Anderson. Jake. I gave him this photo to use in his book. He wrote a book, and this photo was displayed on a billboard on like a screen in Times Square. Someone sent me like an iPhone picture of it. That's pretty cool. Like Micro Four Thirds, little Micro Four Thirds on a huge billboard in Times Square. That's rad. I wish I still had that photo of this photo in Times Square. I don't know where that went. Dang. Some more people in fishing communities. Okay, now we are in Thailand. Did a pretty lengthy trip to Thailand. This is right when I got the GH3. These are some different characters in Thailand, just meeting on the streets. Look at this cool monk. He's chilling. This dude, he went by the name of Mr. T. He had this little rock and roll cafe on the side of the road. It was a little, just like some plywood like nailed together. Hung out with him, drank some beers. What an awesome dude, Mr. T. Okay, oh, here's a monk that I met in a cave. You can see that story in, I'll put a link down below. I've got a whole video on documentary portraits, and I tell the story of how I made this portrait. Kind of an epic experience. Okay, here's some co-workers in Alaska. I was doing a little TV show for Discovery Channel in Alaska. These are, I believe, GH3, GH4 time period. This is like 2013, 14, I think. 14 maybe. Now we're getting into some actors, models, beautiful people in Los Angeles. This is Hannah. Hannah was like a tattoo kind of model, very young girl, but her whole body was tattooed, and I used to love to photograph Hannah. She was rad. We shot together a whole ton, and I don't know whatever happened to Hannah. She just kind of disappeared. There's my daughter, Azure. Really love this photo. Micro Four Thirds, look at that. Look at that shallow depth of field. Wow. And there's my friend John Roca. He's an actor. Actually, he has a YouTube channel now where he talks about movies and reviews movies and stuff. There's Asia, singer, actress. This is one of my favorite portraits of all time. GH4, 45mm 1.8. There's some more characters. Micro Four Thirds. You will notice back in the day, I actually, now that I've shot full frame a ton over the years, I really like the 4x3 sensor and that size. I think it's really good for portraits. I like it a lot. But back then I was like, this is my wife Danny. Back then I was cropping to all different sizes, and I wasn't so, I didn't really care. I just kind of, it wasn't really a thing for me. I was just kind of randomly cropping things like this widescreen picture of Eve. Really love that. Characters. Micro Four Thirds. This is my studio under the bridge. Maybe you guys have seen the studio if you watch the channel. Yeah, most of these are in my bridge studio. Different characters, Micro Four Thirds. This is somewhere out in the desert. Sunset magic hour. Rugged dudes with beards. That's my friend Seth. There's Hannah again. More pictures of Hannah. Later, these are GH4 pictures with Hannah. Hannah disappeared. Where did she go? I would sure love to photograph her again. It's been like 8, 9, 10 years. I really like this dude. He was a photographer. He just showed up for this little group photo shoot that I did with some friends. I love this one, the light. The light. He's got that cool skull tattoo on his chest. That was about the time that I switched over to full frame, and I just shot full frame for a whole bunch of years until this last year I was lent this GH6 from my friends at Lumix. They're like, you want to try this thing out? And I'm like, heck yeah, I want to try this thing out. I had the 4 was the last GH I had, and then I hadn't used one in like 7, 8 years. So they lent me this, and I was going to Africa, and I took it to Africa. So this is one of the rangers I was working with in Africa, Ati. What a handsome dude. There's James, not quite as handsome as Ati, but still pretty handsome. There's Ati again. Look at that hat. Oh, there's my buddy Kip. He was my DP in Africa. What a great dude. There's a whole series of these photos on my website called Kip's Fire. There's my friend Sarah in Africa. There's Charlie S. shot with this now. We're moving up. This is when I really got into Micro Four Thirds again. This is the G9 Mark II, and I did kind of a launch test shoot with this camera. And Charlie came with me, did some portraits of Charlie. He's one of my best friends, one of my good buddies, my bros. Charlie fly fishing in Alaska. And there's a portrait of Charlie. That is with the 42.5mm 1.2 Leica Lumix lens. That lens is exceptional. I actually want to own it. I had one on loan from Lumix. I really think they need to give me one. Or maybe I should just go buy it. Because I love that lens, and I would use it alongside or in spite of or in addition to any other portrait lens out there. It is exceptional. And I think it turns a Micro Four Thirds camera into an amazing tool. I mean, the lens is really what it's all about. And these small sensors, you can do amazing things with a good lens on them. I'm about to show you some more. Here's another actress I shot with the 42.5, the Noct Deluxe for Micro Four Thirds. Pretty creamy background. There's my friend Jenna. Actually just did another shoot with Jenna a couple days ago. Jenna's a rad. I've shot her a few times. You can see this entire shoot if you go down into the archives on my channel. I'll put it in the description. The Jenna shoot. Really great shoot. Jenna's one of my favorite people to photograph ever. She's an athlete and a model, and she's rad. Love these shots with the Noct. This is with the GH6, actually. There is Miranda. Miranda is actually from Alaska. She's actually from the island, Prince of Wales Island, where you just saw my buddy Charlie. Kind of crazy, and I learned that. I shot her a couple weeks after I was on that island with Charlie for that shoot. I'll put that link to that video down below too. But anyways, a couple weeks later, I come back to LA, I photograph Miranda. She tells me, yeah, I'm from Alaska. I'm from this place nobody's heard of called Prince of Wales Island. I'm like, I was just there. But she's a very successful model now. She actually has her own little agency, and yeah, she's awesome. She's totally awesome. But she's from Alaska, which I am too, so that's pretty rad. There's a few of us out there. Oh, here's Corey Alice Black, my friend Corey. Shot her with the G9 II out in the woods and with the Noct, the 42.5. This is one of my favorite shoots ever. I'll link the video to this shoot down below as well. Love this shoot and these photos. So that's it, folks. That's a quick trip down memory lane from the past 13 years. Can you make good portraits with Micro Four Thirds? Yes, I think you can. The lens is key. Olympus makes some amazing, sharp, shallow, fast lenses. Lumix and Leica together, the Leica certified lenses from Lumix are just epic. There's so many of them. There's so many options. And in addition to that, you can adapt darn near anything you want to these little cameras and do any kind of portraiture you want. So there's an example, some examples of what is possible with Micro Four Thirds. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm gonna quit blabbing because this video became longer than I anticipated. Thank you for joining me. Let me know if you have any questions or comments or suggestions. If you remember, do all the little, the stuff you know that you're supposed to do or that I'm supposed to ask you to do that I never do because I don't really care, but maybe I should. Yeah, maybe if you feel like it or you like this video, if it was helpful, do that stuff. And then, yeah, I'll see you really soon. Pretty cool stuff coming up. Pretty cool Micro Four Thirds stuff coming up if you want to stick around and subscribe. Yeah, hint, hint, hint. Thanks for watching. See you soon.